Hey, moving on. Lesson 2-2. All right. Multiplying fractions by whole numbers. This is not difficult. However, you do need to know your math facts, as I've expressed that several times. Okay. All right, here we go. Example number 1. Okay, if we have the whole number 3 times 7/8. Okay, here's the first thing that I'd like to tell you. Anytime a whole number stands alone, does anybody know what that looks like as a fraction? Grant. All right, so tell me what it would look like. 3/3, he says. Yes? Well, no. 3/3 would equal what number? Would equal 1. It's a 3. We gotta keep it the same value. Bucky. Okay. So anytime that you have, I'm going to erase this so you can see this. Anytime that you have a whole number, I'm going to put this over here. Oops. I'm going to put this over here. To make it into a fraction, because we have to keep it the same value. Okay. We put the whole number over 1. Okay. Now we'll come back to this problem in a minute. I guess I'll do some side math over here. So for example, if somebody gives you 2 and they say, hey, what does that look like as a fraction? That's 2/1. Simple as that. Somebody says, hey, I got 34. Make that into a fraction. 34/1. Okay, you put the whole number over 1. So far, so good. All right. So we have 3/1 times 7/8. What do we do next? Okay, on. Okay, this is pretty simple stuff. You multiply numerator times numerator. And here we get 21. You multiply denominator times denominator. And you get 8. Is that an acceptable answer? 21/8. Well, first of all, what kind of a fraction is it? Just yell it out. It's an improper fraction. Do those exist in the world? No, they don't. That means that we have to do what to it? Whoa. What do we got to do? Turn it into a K. Do we know how to do that? Okay, here's what you got to do. You have to see how many 8s, your denominator, go into 21 without going over. You can't go over because then you got more holes than you do pieces. It's not good. How many times does 8 go into 21 without going over? 2. Okay, now watch how this works. This is where you got to know your fact. What's 8 times 2? 16. So I'm going to subtract that from how many parts that I have in my numerator. So what's 21 minus 16? Yell it out. It gives me 5. That is my new numerator. What's my denominator? My denominator is never going to change. If I have 8 parts to make a whole, it's going to be 8 parts consistent throughout the problem. Your denominator is not going to change. Okay? Meaning, when you order a pizza on Friday nights, mom and dad orders a pizza and you get a large and it comes with 8 pieces. It's not just miraculously going to come with 5 sometime. That's what I'm saying. A large is a large. It's 8 pieces. It's coming with 8 pieces all the time. It's not going to change unless you have a different size. All right. So our answer here. To 3 times 7/8 after we do the math is 2 5/8. That is and will be your answer. Everybody good? Moving on. Oops. All right. What's the first thing you want to do? 11 12 times 6. What's the first thing you want to do, Pucky? Okay. Yes, you always want to change the whole number to a fraction. You'll find out later, once we get rolling, it's going to, 1, help you. 2, it's going to make your life easier to solve problems. Okay? Yes, I'm pretty sure that you can do it in your head and you can do this now. I get that. Again, no, we're working towards harder problems, multiple fractions down the road, and you're going to have to keep things organized and straight. Okay? So the easiest thing to do is to do this. Make it 2 fractions. Now, if we multiply it across, like we were taught just last problem, we would get something that looks like this. Yes? Okay. In the math world, as we've expressed, we like things that are simple. We like things with small numbers. We like easier numbers. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm just rewriting the problem. Here's what I'd like you to do next. Because 66 divided by 12, that's kind of big, because now you got to know your facts and how many 12s going to 66. And guess what happens? More problems arise because we don't know our big facts. We don't. So at this juncture, if we look diagonally or across the fraction, hopefully somewhere along your math lives that you've heard of something called cross reduce, yes? Yeah, or correct. Or they use the butterfly thingy. It flies into a window and seen better days. Okay, yes or no? Have you heard about this? The butterfly or the cross reduce or something? Yes? Okay, so here's where you got to know your facts. You take the small number and ask yourself, does 6 go into 12 evenly? Yes. How many times? 2. So it's no longer a 12, it's now a 2. Is it making sense? Okay, now here's where, again, I'm going to always tell you, here's where you make your boo-boo. Guess what you forget to do next? No, do it again. Can't do it again. What do we What do we forget to do? No. What do we forget to do? If I took 6 into 12, what else do I have to take 6 into? Can you look at the arrow? The arrow doesn't go to the 11. We are cross reducing. I have to take 6 divided by 6 and get 1 now up top. So my new problem looks like this now. If you divide, because down here it's 12 divided by 6, that's how I get my 2. If I cross reduce one number, I have to cross reduce the other number. I can't just do it on one number. But you're going to forget to do it on the single digit number. It happens all the time. Okay, so now I can't cross reduce anymore. So now I multiply across. How many 2's go into 11 without going over? 5. 2 times 5 is 10. I subtract that from my numerator, and I carry over. Okay, stop squeaking, please. So 11/12 times 6 is equal to 5.5. That's what we're looking for. Questions, Zach? No. No. Nope. Good question. Cross reduce means that you have to cross the numbers. You can't take them straight across. Absolutely you can. Correct. Okay, I'm glad you said that. So let's do this. So what if we have 4/6 times, well, in this sense, we only have, since we're dealing with a whole number, Zach, it's only going to go one way right now. But you can do it the other way, correct? Does that make sense? When we get into multiplying fractions, I'll show you how to do it both ways, yes. So far, so good. Are you sure? Okay, let's try this one. Do this one on your own. I'll give you a minute to do this. Go ahead and do that one on your own. I'll give you a minute or two. See what you come up with. What'd you get? Just yell out. Very good. I think you all got it right. 3.5. Okay. So if we go, not like that, 7/10 times 5/1, can we cross reduce? Yes. 10 divided by 5. You always divide when you cross reduce, right? Because you're making things smaller. That's a 2. That's a 1. Now I get 7/2, which is 3.5. Okay, now let's say that you forgot to cross reduce. You get 35/10. That's okay. How many 10s go into 35? 3. 35 minus 30 is 5/10. Now, this is where some of you might go, oh, well, that's not, if it's multiple choice answer and that answer is not there, what didn't we do? We didn't simplify the lowest terms. That is correct. Always, always, always need to simplify the lowest terms. Okay. All right, we're good with those? Okay. Next problem. Might want to write this down. Okay, so now we're getting into some expressions. That is 1/3 plus xy. 2/9. X is equal to 3, y is equal to 2/9. Okay, so what's the first thing you notice? Emma? Okay, what does it mean when two variables are next to one another? It means to multiply. Okay, that comes from lesson 1-1, chapter 1. Okay, what else do you notice? Cole? There's a mixed number? I can't hear you, buddy. No, it is not 3 2/9. Do not make that mistake. It's not 3 2/9. It's 3 times 2/9. Remember, you just told me that it was multiplication. That doesn't mean just put the numbers in there and then they make a mixed number. That. Okay, you got a plus sign in there. So something should come to mind that you're going to have to follow the order of operations. You're dealing with fractions, and if there's a plus sign or minus sign, which means you're probably going to have to find a common denominator. There's a lot going on in this simple problem, children. Okay? All right, let's plug it in. So we have 1/3 plus 3 times 2/9. Okay? So I'm going to put my whole number over 1. If I'm following the order of operations, what am I doing first? Multiplication. Can I cross reduce? Yes, I can. How many times does 3 go into 9? 3 times. How many times does 3 go into 3? Once. Okay, now this is where it might get a little confusing in the sense of there's a bunch of things going on. It would probably benefit you to rewrite the problem. Okay. Still have multiplication, so now I'm going to do that first. I'm going to multiply across, so I get 2/3 plus 1/3. The good news is, what do I have that I need? Common denominator. So now I simply add across. Do I add the 3 plus the 3? No, I don't. And my answer arrives at 1. Pretty good with that. Okay, next one. 5/12 plus YZ. Y is equal to 3/16. Z is equal to 20. All right, let's plug in our numbers. We have 5/12 plus y is 3/16 times 20. And I'll put 20 over 1. Can we cross reduce? Yes, we can. Which way we cross reduce it? Okay, is there a factor that can go into 16 and 20 evenly? Obviously, 16 doesn't go into 20 evenly. But is there another number that can go into 16 and 20 evenly? Once again, if you know your facts, this is pretty easy. That's why I tried to tell you, you're going to find out that it's easy. Give me a factor that goes into 16 and 20 evenly, Grayson. 4. So if I divide both by 4, I'm going to rewrite the problem. 16 divided by 4 is 4 times 20 divided by 4 is 5. That is correct. I still have multiplication. Can I reduce that any farther? No, I can't. Now I just multiply straight across. So I get 5/12 plus 15 fourths. Does it make sense so far? Now we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. We're adding fractions. What do you have to find when you add or subtract fractions? You got to find a common denominator. Here's what I would do before you do anything. I would always ask yourself, does the small denominator go into the bigger one evenly? If you answer yes, you've just found your common denominator. So you only have to multiply one fraction. 4 goes into 12 how many times? 3. So I'm going to take that factor and multiply it by the fraction I need to get the common denominator. So I have 5/12. That's not going to change because I already have it as a 12. That's what I want. Plus 4 times 3 is 12. So now I got a common denominator. 15 times 3 is 45. Now, since I have a common denominator, I can add them together. 50/12. That's not a good number to us. That's an improper fraction. How many 12s go into 50 without going over? This is where you got to know your facts. 4. That would be 48. 50 minus 48 gives me 2. And I bring over my common denominator. Am I done yet? No. This is where you have to look at your fraction. Okay, once again, this is a common mistake. After all of that work, because that's a lot, you're going to forget to look at your fraction and go, I can reduce that lower. And we arrive at 4 1/6. Why? Because we can divide by 2. They have a common number. So our final answer there is 4 1/6. Any questions on multiplying a fraction by a whole number? Everybody good? Going once? Pretty good? All right. If you're good, and tonight's homework will be 2/2. And that would be, again, we're always doing the odds. We're doing 5 through 41. We're always doing the odds. Now, I will remind you of this. After looking at your wonderful last night's homework, you did exactly what I thought you would do. Okay, you need to start putting down some work of how you solved it. Okay, listen, I'm only telling you that for this purpose. You're not going to be able to know how to figure that out when it comes quiz and test time. Sorry, the answer key is not going to be there. Okay, that's just a word to the wise.